what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Foot Candle Films. Film news and reviews from two guys who really like movies.
This episode is brought to you by the Foot Candle Film Society. For a schedule of upcoming screenings and membership information, visit the Society's website at www.footcandle.org.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. My name is Alan Jackson. With me is Chris Fry, and we are both with the Foot Candle Film Society and the annual Foot Candle Film Festival coming up this September this year, right, Chris?
Yes.
I mean, like in 2 months.
Yes, in 2 months.
Okay. Yes, I need a little gentle reminder that it is yet coming up in just 2 months. But that's not what we're going to spend a lot of time talking about today. We're going to spend more time talking about film reviews and film news. That's what we do here on Foot Candle Films. Chris, how are you? Good to see you.
I am doing fine. Busy with the festival approaching, as you mentioned. But doing good. And we're in the middle of summer movie season, so it's good because we always have plenty to talk about with all the films coming out. So,
yeah, we do have quite a number of films out this summer, and that's one that we will be reviewing today is one of those aforementioned summer movies. That is the Fantastic Four: First Steps. That's now a requirement, Chris, as I've mentioned, that I have to actually say colons or semicolons or dashes or anything that appear in movie titles, because I want people to understand visually what the title looks like and see it in their head. So I have to give you that information. So this is the Fantastic Four: First Steps, mainly to set itself apart from, I guess, all of the other Fantastic Four versions we've had. This one has a colon and 2 additional words, so that's how you know this is a new version of this story. We will be reviewing the Fantastic Four: First Steps. We will also have a couple of trailers to share with you for some upcoming films that we're curious about and want to get a little bit of a taste of and see what we might be in store for in the coming months. And Chris, you have a recommendation to share with us also at the end of the episode, I believe.
yes, I do.
A film recommendation from Chris Fry, something that he has caught up with recently or revisited or just wants to share with us as something to recommend in case we're looking for something to fill our movie watching queue in the coming days. All right, Chris, so we got plenty to get into. Are you ready to jump into our main film review?
Yes.
All right, well, let's get into talking about the Fantastic Four: First Steps.
T-5.
Before we went up the first time, you couldn't turn invisible. Ben wasn't a rock.
The best pilot in the world right here.
Yeah. Best looking, he means.
And Johnny never caught fire.
Ben has always been a rock. Johnny is Johnny.
Hi.
And I am right here. Whatever life throws at us, we'll face it together. As a family.
In 2005, 20th Century Fox released The Fantastic Four, starring Ian Gruffud. I'm not sure how to say his name, but I think there's a reason why I'm not really familiar with the actor.
Right.
As Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. Jessica Alba as Sue Storm, Invisible Woman. Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. And Michael Chilkus as Ben Grimm, the Thing. A sequel was released in 2007 titled Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. With disappointing box office returns and poor reviews from critics, a third film in the franchise was canceled. Then in 2015, a reboot of the series was released with director Josh Trank and stars Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, Kate Mara, and Jamie Bell taking over the star roles. It was also a bomb, hated by audiences, critics, and even the director himself, Josh Trank. Now with First Steps, we have a fourth attempt at making a Fantastic Four movie with a new cast of Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Evan Moss Baccarat. Technically, there was another really low-budget movie before this, but nobody really pays attention to that. So technically, I think there have been
technically,
five.
it was. I don't think it was actually ever officially released.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
So
kind of
that's why
shelved. Yeah,
That's why nobody. So it was a bomb, but never even released.
Well, it can't really be a bomb if
it's
you
not
don't even
released,
get
it
into
just-
theaters
it was just
to go
shelved.
see. Just no show. Yeah.
So that was the new cast that I mentioned, and then the director is Matt Shankman, and he had directed WandaVision, which was in the MCU, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia sitcom. So, Alan, what was your opinion of this iteration? Are you riding a wave of enthusiasm like a Silver Surfer, or do you feel dragged under by an undertow of unfair expectations?
Okay, so I got the Silver Surfer reference. Was the undertow reference?
Just because like you're riding a wave, then undertow. It's like you're at the beach.
See, I was
MCU
thinking
beach.
I was thinking you were going to use two characters like
Oh,
Silver Surfer
yeah,
riding, or were you going to be weighted down like the rocks on the Thing's
okay, yep.
body?
There we go. That would have worked as well. Probably better.
Okay.
But
Should we do it all again, or no? We're good. We're good. We'll go ahead and go with
Just
what we got.
fix this in
That's
post,
fine.
man.
We'll fix it in post. What did I think of Fantastic Four:
Yes.
First Steps?
Yes.
I really liked this movie.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun with it.
Okay.
I thought it was fun and great and good, and loved the tone.
Did
I
you
loved
think
the
it
style.
was fantastic?
I'm not going to go out and say it was. I don't know. Fantastic is not a word on my scale that I use. I can't really properly
enough.
gauge where the word fantastic falls between like good, great, whatever. It was really good. It's probably one of my favorite MCU films now. If I look back, like probably in the top 5, which, it's pretty good. I'll be the first to say I enjoy the MCU movies, but I do not think any of them are extraordinary. In other words, I think they're all good. Well, not all of them. I think most of the MCU movies are good to really good. I don't think any singular movie in this whole universe is really awesome, great, like a pinnacle of like film, film lore for us. I mean, so this being in the top echelon of MCU movies isn't saying to me that this is like the best movie I've seen all year by any means. But compared to what I feel like we've been getting superhero movies, and especially ones in the MCU for the last several years, I feel like this is a nice big course correction. This is the tone and style that I want from a film. I like the fact that it leans into a aesthetic that it's pretty set on, and it works for this film. I like the world building that was in place here. I liked the characters. I like the supporting characters. I like the world that we're kind of being able to inhabit during this time. There are some things that I think were misses for the film. I think some things that overlooked. I think some things that didn't work as well as it should have. And honestly, Chris, this is going to go against the Chris Fry argument of running time. I think it was actually just a tad short, because there's actually a couple of areas I would have really liked to seen do more with, and I think they got a little shortchanged. I'm looking at you, Mr. Ben Grimm, The Thing. I think that was a character develop, an area that did not get anywhere near the attention it should have compared to the others. But overall, I did have a lot of fun with this movie. I thought it was exactly what I needed from a Marvel popcorn superhero movie these days, and I hope it's a good kick in the pants to kind of get things going in the right direction going forward. So anyway, I could go into more detail, but I want to turn it over to you, Chris. What did you think of the Fantastic Four: First Steps?
Disclaimer. I saw this movie on a Friday night
You did see it
in a theater that did not have air conditioning. Keep in mind, we are in July, towards the end of July. I live in North Carolina. I'm not sure of the actual temperature in the theater, but combined with the humidity that was in there, I felt like I was in a rainforest, and not in a good way.
And
It wasn't pleasurable.
And can I also just speculate? This was opening weekend night,
Yes.
Friday night.
Yes.
A full theater, I would assume.
Not packed because it wasn't the Dolby.
Oh, you didn't go to the big
So,
Dolby.
but it was rather full, but not packed. Yeah.
Could I argue that there might have been some scents and smells in the theater because of maybe people. And again, I'm one of them that like to flock to the superhero movies on
Sure.
opening weekend, and
Sure.
he might have packed them in a little bit
Yeah.
with
It
no
was-
air
it was-
circulation.
and, yeah, I was one of the people in there that was sweating because you could not help it. So
Yeah.
stale popcorn, sweat, not a good combo.
Okay. Well, so thank you for the disclaimer,
I
because I'm
understand.
sure I'm a firm believer that viewing experience has a direct impact on enjoyment of a film.
Absolutely. So I don't even know if it's fair for me to review this film, because you mentioned one of the things that I often complain about, or sometimes you do. I think I'm really guilty of it. But the runtime, I could not wait for this film to be over because I thought I was going to pass out. That's how like
right.
stagnant the air was. Okay, so all that aside, I'll sum up my thoughts on the film with this. I would say the film was the fantastic (parentheses production design). The rest, meh. (first steps). That's my overall. I appreciate them trying to the differentiation. I mean, you could tell it from the previews that the way the film looked and everything, it looked like an MCU movie done in the Jetsons universe.
Yes.
Which is
Perfect, yeah,
which is
that's it.
fun. And that mimics a lot of when this comic came out and how it looked and everything. Their vision of the future at the time the comic came out. Yeah, I thought it was really unique. It was a chance. It was a risk. I thought it worked, the production design. Where I stumbled with the movie was, and the characters of the four themselves, they left the two most interesting that I felt were sidelined, being Johnny Storm and the Thing. Granted, I think most people, me included, come to this movie and I know who they are. So it's not like I need like a huge backstory of, hey,
Right.
why is this guy turning into flames or what's it? But I thought Joseph Quinn, they had just like turned his flame down so low. I'm surprised he burned it all because he just came across as the mildest, most non-interesting version of the Human Torch I think I've ever seen. And that goes back to some of the other films, how he's portrayed. They're like loud, brash talking or whatever. Like that's kind of, and I was like, whoa, they've really just like, just really made him blah. Ben Grimm, same. You mentioned that. Same kind of thing with him. And other than, I guess, throwing comedy in there, having him grow a beard, I thought was just dumb. I was like, okay, that's just something really random. And I thought dumb. Now, for me, when I go to a comic book movie, number one thing I want is a really good villain. And it has to be very dynamic and really cool. And I understand historically Galactus and Silver Surfer, they're the two kind of adversaries in this film. Silver Surfer, I guess, kind of worked, but I think it's kind of a hard character to really flesh out in many ways, and it was okay. Galactus, the depiction of him and everything, great. I thought it worked, and I don't think it's a fault of the movie. I just think it's a hurdle they weren't quite able to clear. In that, when you have this huge giant thing that apparently is kind of all powerful and can kind of do whatever, it kind of makes it hard for him to be around, because then it's like, well, if he can do all this, why doesn't he just like take his thumb and index finger or pointer finger and flick the earth and just destroy it? It's like, it just doesn't seem like there's not a lot of stakes there, because it just seems like it's impossible to do anything. And to build tension there, you're just like, and like, it takes so long. It's like his ship was kind of like the Spaceball ship that just takes forever to move. And it's like, if he's this all-powerful thing, why can't he just like blip to the other part of the universe and thump the earth and make it go away or eat it or whatever he did? Like, the concepts for the villains were so high that I feel like the film didn't quite make them threatening enough or something. I don't know. It just, so I don't think the film's a bad film, but it just was kind of, just very, it wasn't bad, and it didn't take the Marvel MCU like a step back, but it just seemed very bland for me. But if you compare it to all the other Fantastic Four movies that I mentioned in the setup, yes, I think it is the best of what we've had of this. It's just really interesting to me. And maybe it's because you'd have to speak to this more. Some of the villains they battle are so, except for someone who is teased in this film, which we won't get into that because that's spoilers. Maybe they're always so high-minded in how they do their superhero antics that it doesn't translate well to the screen. Like, why do you think it's been so tough to make? You're saying this is a stellar version of this film, but
yeah, I had a different experience, especially with the villain, because I thought the way Galactus was handled was perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect, and love the fact that it's a different type of villain than we're usually seeing. You know, we kind of argued so many times that the villains just kind of become very carbon copy in these films, very similar style, similar personality. It's like, I like the fact that, no, this is a very different antagonist. And, you know, I thought, yes, I think the movie did a better job of relaying exactly how powerful or not powerful this creature is compared to like in the comics. In the comics, I never understood. It's supposedly he actually eats, like truly eats, like he himself in his mouth eats these worlds. I'm like, well, how are you going to pull that off in a movie? I'm like, okay, the movie kind of sets it up as like, no, he goes around in this giant machine. This machine burrows
very slow,
but I mean, it's a big machine and it takes a long time to get stuff across the universe. Yeah, I get it. It's a big machine that kind of burrows itself into a planet and then like chops it up and churns it up. I'm like, okay, and he's inside this ship. Got it. Okay, now I understand the mechanics. It makes better sense to me. So that way you can have him as a physical person hopping onto a planet like Earth. And, you know, yes, he's after something on this planet that, you know, again, I don't want to get into because I think it's a pretty interesting plot device that's being used.
Wow. Can we differ on that?
No, I thought it was really good. I actually felt the stakes in this movie were pretty darn high, and I felt it the whole way through. I agree with you that, you know, we did get a lot more attention on Reed and Sue, the husband and wife in this Fantastic Four. But I think for the purpose of this movie, it kind of made sense. I would have liked to have had a lot more development with Ben Grimm, the Thing. I do agree that Johnny Storm was a little shortchanged on time and character development. But, you know, this is a movie about the two of them primarily in kind of a situation they're dealing with. I just think, I don't know, I thought the stakes were high. I actually felt there was a great deal of tension and dread. The slow moving spaceship. Yeah. Okay. You could argue that it took forever but that built up something from a filmmaking standpoint. I'm like, all right, that gave us a goalpost. We as an audience kind of have something to kind of expect instead of just fabricating things that happen in these superhero movies. And it's like, well, here it is. And now this is happening. And now this is happening. We don't need to explain how we're getting there. No, this is like pretty much setting up a really dire situation and building the blocks to kind of get us there. So I actually thought it just kind of worked on all those fronts. My takeaways, the two things I felt like were a disappointment with the film. One, I thought the CGI was pretty shoddy in a lot of places. I actually was kind of disappointed with how I felt like poorly rendered so many things were that I was seeing. Even I'm watching it on a pretty big screen, and it just looked like we were doing animation from several years ago, and not what I would consider to be more current, cutting edge that I would have expected in this. The production design was amazing, but the CGI specifically, especially with the guys with their powers, I thought the way Mr. Fantastic stretching power look was just kind of hokey. And I think Ben Grimm, the Thing, I think face, they got him right. But movement, it's very CGI-ish. So that it was a little too obvious at times for me on that. Secondly, like I already mentioned, I thought you have such an interesting character with Ben Grimm, the Thing, and they drop hints that there are more to develop with that character that they don't do anything with. That was more frustrating to me. It's like they introduce a potential love interest that they do nothing about, like save 2 short scenes that don't go anywhere.
Just adds runtime and a cameo.
Exactly. It seemed like it was more for a cameo of an actress than it was for anything else. I feel like there was a longer version of this movie that they decided, no, let's try to get it under 2 hours. And, you can, you do whatever reaction you want, Chris. I think this movie could have warranted another 10 minutes and done some great development. I mean, you're just, I hate to have you sit in the theater for another 10 minutes into that heat. But
Right.
I'm saying we've endured. I mean, Superman was what? What was Superman? Was Superman 2 hours? I mean, it had to have been at least right at 2 hours or more.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I would be surprised if
Yeah.
it wasn't around 2 hours.
So it's like, I feel like there was some missed opportunities with this film, but I kind of, in a way, also admire the fact that it is other than save a montage at the beginning to give the reintroduction of their origins, which I thought was actually pretty nicely handled as kind of like news clip, newsreel type of things. This is really just it's an adventure of this team, one snapshot, like one issue in a comic book series watching this. It's not meant to be the end all be all. Let's develop every character and give every character this huge arc. So I get that. And I get that that's kind of an idea you go with. But anyway, I just had a lot of fun with it. I think it worked on so many levels and it was just refreshing. I got to admit, I did enjoy Superman, the James Gunn film that we reviewed.
It was 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Okay, so this is 15 minutes shorter than Superman. And I didn't really hear any of us complaining about the length of Superman. I think Superman tried to cram so much more in and had so many more subplots. So, there again, I felt like I think this movie could have breathed a little bit more on a couple of areas and been okay.
Yeah, it's unfair for me to compare the two because I didn't watch Superman in a sauna. So
Right. Yeah,
automatically I liked it better. You mentioned how there are, like I said, I admire the production design, the chance they took to put it kind of in a different, even though everybody's kind of tired of the multiverse concept, for this to kind of appear in this, it made sense. It
Yes.
actually really made sense. So
I was going to say the exact same
very clever
thing.
use of multiverse. Very awesome production design. And like you said, I will second that. The way the first few minutes of the movie kind of set up like the origin story, instead of having this be another origin story, since there have been 3 movies before this, they're like, nope, they have them already very famous. They're going on a talk show, and it's the opening of a talk show kind of saying, yeah, you remember them? They got their powers this way. And yep, clever.
Perfect.
Way to set everything up. Great. I think, and this is, I think where we kind of differ in the different, I didn't get as much out of the big villain as big villain because he was Galactus. He's huge. I didn't get as much out of that. And then I guess expectation wise, when I go to a film, and again, they are trying this. This is different. So congratulations for doing something different. You are kind of breaking the mold of the MCU. But they turn this, and this is why I think Human Torch and Thing get sidelined. They turn this into a domestic drama between husband and wife, and I'll leave it at that since we're not going to apparently spoil what that domestic drama is. But that's just not interesting to me. And then
I found it,
and I think because especially within the context of a comic book movie, it's not interesting because I guess I want things to be dumber and more fantastical. And it's more like down to earth, like, oh, we're struggling with this domestic issue. Wasn't as interesting to me. And then there's a big scene where the planet is basically against the Fantastic Four, and Sue Storm makes a speech, and it just, nothing again, but something about it didn't quite work. Like the tide of the crowd turning and then kind of getting on their side.
I'll give you that. It was a little,
little
convenient.
Yeah, and it's just like, if you're going to take that and make it like, they made the stakes of the, family drama, domestic drama turn into something that was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But for that to work, you have to kind of knock it out of the park. And I was like, yeah, like if they would have just kind of somehow not done that part and just been a battle against, like figured out some other way.
Right.
That
well, it was a little bit of a show. I mean, I will say, I don't blame Vanessa Kirby for that because I think her performance.
No, her performance.
Her performance in this whole film is so good.
Right.
I really think she's the standout. She is super, super good all the way through of these 4. I mean, I think all 4 of them are good. I agree with you that I think the actor playing Johnny Storm Joseph Quinn, and then Eben Moss Bachrach. Yeah, they get shortchanged, and it's a shame. But again, it's one movie. We're already kind of saying, if there are some people feeling it's a little long already or a little stuffed. All right, well, you got 4 characters. You got to give 1 or 2 of them the focus and let the other ones be the supporters.
And based on
fine.
the reaction of the crowd, which I'm assuming was the same reaction your crowd had, they have let us know that the Fantastic Four will be back. So, have no fear. They will get more exposure. So.
Just your comment about the domestic side of and honestly, that is what drew me probably more than anything to this film is the fact that, we do have that. And that's something that I think is sorely missing from so many of these characters and these big superhero films is that they've become mythical. They've become, where there's no real human stakes to their actions or decisions. And when the Fantastic Four was created as a comic book back in the early 60s, that was what was revolutionary about it. It's like, this is a family. These people have like family issues that they're having to deal with while also being superheroes. I'm like, yes, show me that. And that was what I love so much about the Reed Richards, Sue Storm relationship. I love the fact that the very first scene we see them is basically learning that she's pregnant. I mean, that's like...
Oh, so you're throwing it out there. That is...
Well, it's in the trailer.
Okay. I didn't know it was in the trailer.
Well, yeah, she's pregnant.
Okay, so that's the domestic drama thing.
What happens beyond that, I'm not talking about like what happens with that pregnancy or whatever. But no, it's in the trailer. It's in...
Okay, I didn't know if you could say...
Yeah, she's pregnant. Now, what happens with it, I'm not saying. But she is pregnant. Because it's, first scene of the movie... I love the fact that we start out we could start out on some big space adventure. We could start out with them in a spaceship rocking around. No, it's like they're taking a pregnancy
on a toilet.
Yeah, and taking a pregnancy test. I'm like, yes, perfect. Yeah, thank you. Let's make this a domestic. Let's have some domestic stakes involved here, and not just Anyway, I appreciated that side of me, but I can also understand. It may not be what everybody wanted from the film, but I did like it. I personally loved all the interpersonal stakes and quandaries that were kind of thrown out in the situation as well. To me, it just made it interesting, and I just felt like the stakes were raised all the way across, and I felt that. So,
I'll say, and I realize you don't judge a film by a mid-credit scene or an end-credit scene because those are tacked on. Everybody just expects them with the Marvel movies, and when they do something like, I think it was one of the Captain America movies where they just kind of said like, "What do you want? Go home," and then it wasn't like anything. So I will say, the mid-credit scene of this film kind of made me wake up, and I was like, "That's a really clever kind of like." I mean, you could say it's a fan service moment, but it's actually kind of a responding to some fans that were unhappy with a revelation that had been made about things that were going to happen in films down the road. They were like, that's not fair.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then, but like the way they used it and it being in this alternate universe, it was like, that was very slick, very clever way to kind of tease things that are setting up, but to also kind of be like, we're in this multiverse, so this can it actually really made sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well,
I thought that made me wipe the sweat from my brow and be like, oh, we're in the credits, and hey, that was kind of cool. So I thought that was a neat use of story.
Yeah, I thought that was fine. Supposedly that particular scene you're referring to was directed by the Russo brothers.
Really?
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not by Matt Shakman. So it's kind of
which are the setups of the okay.
Yeah, the future Avengers movies and all that. So yeah.
Right.
I just had a lot of fun with this movie. I thought it was great. I did have a couple issues, misgivings with it, but I'm a fan of this style of film, production design wise, the whole kind of Tomorrowland world. Love it. I love it. Okay. And I love the fact that we spend so much time with people on the streets in this New York version of New York City. It felt a little more lived in environment than I think we've been getting in a lot of these big budget movies recently. And other than the shortchanging of two of the 4 characters, and I felt some kind of dodgy CGI at times that took me out of the film a little bit. Otherwise, I had a really good time with this.
And I don't know if it's something that Matt Shankman, I mentioned he'd done WandaVision, which, universally appreciated, loved. I liked WandaVision. I'm not really familiar. I know it exists. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I've never actually watched any of the episodes. But to me, you mentioned the Russo brothers. I don't know. And, is it a script thing, so not necessarily a directing thing, because Matt Shankman just directed it. Mm-hmm. He did not write it. Mm-hmm. But anytime you get like multiple people, that can be kind of a problem. Mm-hmm. So I wonder, but somebody who has had great success directing multiple people would be the Russo brothers. Mm-hmm. So I wonder what would have been if not that he did a bad job, but somehow handling, I wonder if he would have been like, we need to rewrite this script because I wonder if he would have been more concerned about giving more equal time. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I know it's difficult when you're trying to juggle 4 superheroes.
I thought Matt Shankman did a great job. I think they brought him in, or I think he was the ideal choice for this because he created such interesting worlds and production-wise
with WandaVision.
Yeah. Having to work with like 6 or 7 different kind of motifs and time periods. And he nailed them on all of them. I think they're like, oh yeah, this guy knows how to build a world based on a time period or based on a certain motif. And I think that was a nice fit for him. Plus, I thought the human moments in WandaVision, he knew how to handle those kind of human moments here as well. So again, that was the 2 things that just made it work for him with this. So, I got nothing more to say. We never even mentioned Pedro Pascal making his second appearance on the Foot Candle Films podcast in a row here, as we talked about Eddington last week.
Right.
Thoughts on him? How did he do? Better or worse performance than Eddington? I know the answer to this, but I just want to ask you.
I mean, he had a lot more to do in Eddington, I think. But I thought he was good in Eddington. Yeah. I thought he was good in this.
I will admit, I still think Pedro Pascal might be a slight miscast for this character in Fantastic Four. So therefore, I liked his performance in Eddington just a hair more. But he was serviceable in this role. He was serviceable.
Here's the thing that I think is kind of tough about now. I am not the scholar of the MCU and definitely not Fantastic Four. I'm familiar with the other iterations of this movie because I've actually seen, I don't know why, but I've actually seen all the 4 Fantastic Four movies.
I don't know why, but
I think he probably does the best Reed Richards because he is more charismatic. But I think that's kind of a problem with this character.
Yes.
Is that from what I can glean from the Fantastic Four, he is kind of a nerd. He is a scientist.
Right.
He's a little removed, has problems showing emotions and all that kind of stuff. So, but Pedro Pascal, because he just can't help but be interesting on screen, he was interesting, but he still did a good job of playing like nervous husband, kind of standoffish, very much a nerd, cares more about science and nerdy stuff than building a crib for the child that's coming along. Like, so in a way, like a lot of that really worked for me. So,
but even when Pedro Pascal is delivering a line that's supposed to basically let you know, the audience, that he is uncomfortable and doesn't know how to interact with people, his overall just presence and charm on the screen is like, no, I don't believe you. So anyway, it's a little, that's why I say it's a little tight miscaps. I think they kind of tried to shape his character as more of a, yes, he is a slightly awkward, he's over analytical, but he's also kind of a looker that, people can kind of look up to and see and feel like it looks very dashing. I think they tried to play that kind of angle with him to play off of Pedro Pascal's just natural effusive charm he has. It was I think it was a difficult casting choice. I think it was casting mainly for the name, and I think it was impressive to have his name on the poster for this. But I will say, I think Vanessa Kirby was spot on, perfect, great. I think she was the best performer of all 4 of them, honestly. And the other 2, I think, were probably cast just right, and I think we're good with the little bits they were given, but I wish they were been given more, and I wish they could have shown more. So, yeah.
Is it a spoiler to say who plays Galactus and the Silver Surfer in this film?
No.
Okay.
No. Those were all pretty easily announced.
Okay, because I don't feel like, surprisingly enough to me, I didn't know either one. I didn't know either one of these people were in the film.
Yeah.
And things were familiar, but then I didn't recognize them. And then, like, at certain parts of the film, I never Galactus is voiced by Ralph Ineson, who I know him from, like, The Witch and everything. And
he's also the Green Knight.
Oh, yeah, okay. And that fit because of that voice. I was like, that sounds really familiar.
Yeah.
So that totally works that he's voicing this giant Galactus.
yeah.
So that worked. Julia Garner, who plays the Silver Surfer, you're talking about short shrift for The Thing, Ben Grimm, and for Johnny Storm. Because I think Julia Garner is this outsized presence when she's usually on screen, like something like the TV series Ozark. That's what I mainly, associate her with. She's such a presence. And again, but I guess that's the role of the Silver Surfer is to kind of be just this like robot who goes around and like soulless robot who goes. But like because it was done by Julia Garner, I was like, oh, well, that's a shame.
Well, it was interesting that you had some really big actors. Well, big to us, I think actors that we like and admire with really small throwaway parts that were really kind of interesting. Not going to give it, I'll mention one. Paul Walter Hauser has a part in this film. That's it's like I knew he was cast in this film, and I remember seeing that in the announcements.
Perfect.
Oh, he was, but it was like oh wow, and that was it. We got like basically 2 scenes of him doing his bit, and I'm like, okay, I mean it's cool. He was really good in it, but it's like, did you know John Malkovich was actually cast and had a part in this movie, but got cut? So again, there's a montage in the first 20 minutes of the film where you're kind of hearing about the adventures of the Fantastic Four and all the villains they face and whatever.
Okay, I'm raising my hand.
Yeah. Anyway, he was supposed to be one of those villains that is mentioned in a throwaway, and there was supposedly scenes shot, but it was cut. Anyway, so again, that's just another example of really good actors that kind of had small parts in this movie that were really interestingly used. Yeah.
So you touched on Paul Walter Hauser.
Yeah.
And I loved his role in the film and ultimately how he comes back around and assists in the film.
It was great.
It was great. I think because something, mechanics and like the Sue Storm speech I already talked about, if we could have deleted the family drama and had it be more of people coming to terms with having to work with other people and work with Paul Walter Hauser and his setup in his world, who they've had apparently at one time they had a disagreement. There was a big fight about, and then they worked together to kind of avoid a lot of people getting killed.
Yeah.
I think like that there could have been some more meat there, and that would have worked for me better than the. But it's it's mileage may vary. You really like the family drama thing, which I understand.
And I think
that
you could have covered
really
both.
interesting how that came out. I was like, oh wow, that's fascinating.
What ultimately makes these kind of stories and these characters interesting is that you want to have the domestic drama against the backdrop of a much larger society drama, like big, like kind of you're saying there. Say, imagine you've got this same husband-wife parenting child drama question and dilemma, but it's against this backdrop of this much bigger world-shaking conflict and issue that, yes, you've got to try to figure out how to balance the two and make them work together. I think there could have been more that could have been explored there for sure, or better, maybe a different balance to that. But back to Paul Walter Hauser, I thought that was a good use of him and that character. Sarah Niles, she's like becoming like our repeat go-to person, right? Played Lynn Nichols. I'm not sure. She seems to be like a spokesperson for the Fantastic Four, maybe like
their publicist,
like a PR,
maybe?
yeah.
Okay.
But we saw her in. I mean, we saw her in Ted Lasso, the TV show.
Absolutely.
But then we just saw her in what movie recently? What was the one we brought up that we were surprised she was in, and she was really good in?
Good question.
It was like within the last 2 to 3 weeks, Chris.
Sure. F1 the movie.
Oh yeah, she was in F1. She was the mother of the young driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's getting more screen time.
Yeah.
So that's good for her because I like her. So yes, did not expect her.
So anyway, interesting casting choices, and yeah. All right. Well, I think Chris, you should go see this again in a nice 71-degree air-conditioned theater.
Okay.
I'd also recommend maybe going when it's not, opening weekend has passed, so the crowds have dropped off a little bit, so you can go see it in a little more of a spacious, comfortable theater environment there, and see if your opinions get reshaped in any way. So
not bad, but not fantastic.
Okay. I'm not going to go fantastic, but I will say pretty great. I think that's the term I'm going to use. Pretty great.
Pretty great.
I mean, not perfect.
Right.
And fantastic's a strong word, but pretty great. Pretty great. So, all right. That is the Fantastic Four, First Steps. And we'd be anxious to hear what you think as well. If you saw this film, you want to drop us a line, we'll give you a note at the end of the show on how you can reach us and contact us and let us know what you thought. All right, Chris, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we've got a couple of trailers to watch for some films coming out in the next few months that we want to examine and talk about. And we'll also hear your recommendation for a film that we can check out. So stay tuned. You're listening to Foot Candle Films. We'll be right back.
Want to discover great podcasts or maybe even start one of your own? Welcome to The Mesh, Western North Carolina's podcast network built for creators and listeners alike. From local sports and business to comedy and culture, The Mesh is home to unique voices and fresh perspectives. Do you have something you want to say? The Mesh can help you bring your podcast to life with the tools, support, and platform you need to be heard. Check us out at themesh.tv, where great podcasts live and new ones are born.
Hello and welcome back to Foot Candle Films here on the Mesh.tv podcast network. Chris, we had our review of Fantastic Four, First Steps in the first half of the show. Now, as always, we turn our attention to films coming out in the near future or having been announced, or, and in the situation of the two we're going to talk about, have trailers released for them. And Chris, I have not seen either of these.
Neither have I.
Okay, this is going to be new for you as well.
So hopefully it is not just images with text on screen like it was for Presents. And
Right.
Just music.
And I will go ahead and kind of warn everybody that's listening on an audio podcast. Yeah, one of the trailers we're going to play probably will not have any English spoken language. So you're not going to be able, and of course you won't be able to see subtitles because you're on an audio podcast. So if any of these trailers sounded all interesting to you or you'd like to check them out, we wholeheartedly encourage you to go check them out online and watch them
Absolutely.
as they're meant to be viewed. We're just going to be watching them here and do a little discussion about what we see. First one up is a film called No Other Choice. And Chris, I know you are particularly excited about this. I mean, as I am too, but you brought this up. Park Chan-wook's latest film. Park Chan-wook, who we know from many films, and I'm trying to recall. Help me out, Chris.
Yeah, some of his bigger ones that people like Old Boy. Is like his
Old
big
Boy.
thing that Spike Lee remade. And
Yeah.
then his most recent one prior to this was Decision to Leave, which was like Hitchcockian kind of tale that I really, really liked. So I saw he had a new film coming out, and I was like, let's talk about it.
All right. Well, No Other Choice, his latest film, got an international distribution through Neon in North America here, so we'll be seeing it before too long. It does star Lee Byung-hun, who people will recognize from the TV show Squid Game.
Is he 486, the main dude?
No.
Okay, he's not 486.
This is the bad guy?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen the last season
Okay.
of Squid Game. I haven't watched the last season. I don't know where
Okay.
it goes.
Interesting.
Anyway.
I will refrain from any comment.
Yeah, so Lee Byung-hun, who as of season 3 was the bad guy in the show.
Right.
I believe it's he. We're going to be following him. It's a tense Korean language film sees our star under stress. We just see a lot of images with this trailer, so I don't think it gives us a really great plot necessarily. Supposedly what we're reading from, according to Deadline, follows Lee as a middle-aged man who embarks on a determined job hunt after being unexpectedly fired from the paper company that he worked for 25 years and comes to a desperate decision. That's the log line, and we're going to watch the trailer now and just see if we get anything from that. So we'll catch you on the other side. Probably just going to play a clip of this trailer on the audio podcast, but we will encourage you to check it out in its full form online if you're so inclined. All right, here we go. Trailer for No Other Choice.
미국에서는 해고를 도끼질한다고 한다면서요. 한국에선 뭐라 그러는지 아세요? 넌 뭐가지야?
So that was the teaser trailer for No Other Choice. Again, we didn't have any subtitles with it on the viewing we just had, but I don't think it really mattered. I mean, it was all more of definitely a visual tone trailer.
Tone, visual, feel, yeah.
What's takeaways, Chris? What are you thinking
Can't
here?
wait. To me, this is unfair expectation, but hey, that's what we do on this show, especially when we watch teaser trailers. This was, in my mind, the perfect kind of trailer. We didn't even get to really know what they were saying because there were no translations for the subtitles.
I think all teaser trailers now should be dubbed in other languages other than English, so we have no idea what they're saying.
That would be an
to
interesting,
not give anything away. Yeah,
that would be an interesting tack. But I loved the visuals. I love the sound editing. All the choices were just working, and I like the fact that I don't really know what the plot is. I just know it looks cool, it's edited cool, and I want to see it. The unfair expectation that I mentioned, it looks like it could be 2025's Parasite, because it kind of has that feel where we know this guy gets fired. You mentioned that in kind of the brief description. He gets fired. He's struggling to try to make ends meet, try to find a way to earn a living, and so I think there's going to be some class commentary going on.
Some more economic, societal commentary.
Yeah, and so that's my jam. Mix that with some cool visuals, and that's my jam. So I really liked Parasite. Was my favorite movie of that year. Mm-hmm. So this, it looks very, very promising. I'm super excited to see it.
No, I think it looks great from the little teaser that we're there. I'm on board. Let's do it. I want to see this. Be very curious to see. I did not have a date.
Release date.
Hold on. I think I may have it here.
Yeah, it may have been in Korean, so that may be
right.
why.
I think it was. So
I think it is coming out this year. I just don't know.
I don't think according to this article, there's not even a date announced. They just got the rights to the film, distribution rights, settled with Neon taking the rights for U.S. So I don't think a date's been announced, but. Happy to hear it does have domestic distribution here in the United States. So we will be seeing it. It does say a September release date.
September. I thought one of the numbers that flashed on screen was 9 at one point.
Okay.
So that would be September.
Yeah, it says the trailer and the new poster reveal a September release date. Okay, good. So we got that going for us next month then.
Yes.
Great.
Super excited.
So we have another teaser trailer to share. This one, again, not a film. You brought this to my attention. I was not aware of this at all. It is a Netflix film. Mm-hmm. It is called Train Dreams. Mm-hmm. It stars Joel Edgerton, and it is from the team that wrote and produced Sing Sing, the film that we reviewed last year. That I was hoping it would get a little more Oscar acclaim than it did, but so be it. This film premiered at the Sundance Film Festival this year.
Okay.
We just got the first teaser trailer for it. Clint Bentley is the director of the film, and it is based on Dennis Johnson's novella Train Dreams, the moving portrait of Robert Grenier, played by Edgerton, a logger and railroad worker who leads a life of unexpected depth and beauty in the rapidly changing America of the early 20th century.
So period piece.
Appears to be.
Okay.
The film also stars Felicity Jones, Paul Schneider, Carrie Condon, William H. Macy. So it is premiering November 21st on Netflix after it's going to play a limited theatrical release in early November. But let's check out the Netflix official teaser. And again, I hope this is just teaser, and I hope this is all we see of the film.
I don't think it'll be in Korean, though.
Probably not, but we are going to check this out. So let's watch this teaser trailer and see thoughts on Train Dreams.
World's an old place. Probably nothing it hasn't seen by now.
I don't know where the years go.
I feel it too. It's all going by so fast.
Bye-bye. This world is intricately stitched together, boys.
All right, so that is the teaser trailer for Train Dreams, coming to Netflix November 21st, but in select theaters, limited release in November 7th. Chris, your thoughts?
So the last trailer that we talked about, I compared to one of my favorite movies, which was Parasite. This one, not comparing it to one of my favorite directors, but what it most reminded me was of Terrence Malick.
Tree of Life.
Yep, Tree of Life, Terrence Malick.
I was going to say the same thing.
So, looks beautiful. And, a lot of the quotes that they would throw up on screen said, like, a work of art, visual masterpiece. One of the other quotes that jumped out at me was, Joe Edgerton gives a career best performance, which, like Joe Edgerton.
With the byline of Joel Edgerton's agent, having said that.
Right. I like Joe Edgerton, but I have never really seen him be able to. I mean, he was in the film Loving, which was good, and he was one of the main characters in that. But to see him really hold the screen like he is the main character, I'm like, okay, I'm happy to see him get maybe a career best performance type thing. Typically, my record on period pieces, I don't gravitate towards them. But this one does look like a visual masterpiece. And interested to see Joel Edgerton do some work with it. So, and, I did appreciate Sing Street. So this is a second offering from one of the co-directors.
Yeah,
So,
I'll tell you, this looks great. I mean, and this is right up my alley. And I'm a huge Tree of Life fan. So if this is even like Tree of Life light, fine, I'll take it. My only question is, it sounds like the only chance I might have to be able to see this is on Netflix. Which, this is the kind of film I'm like seeing this trailer. I'm like, my gosh, this is a film that needs to be out on a big theater.
If only you knew somebody who owned a theater.
As soon as the words came out of my mouth, then I'm like, I wish there was a way I could see this movie somehow. The question, if the question is it truly going to true limited release, meaning it's only going to be released in like these 8 cities, for a few weeks, whatever.
Right.
Or is it going to be a little more, quote, broader limited release where other theaters could see it? It just seems like this is a movie that needs to be in a theater. I mean, that's...
Agreed.
Anyway, for that being said.
Yeah. And with the films Netflix has put out, things like Roma, the movie that I cannot remember the name of it, but it was a black and white vampire movie that came out that was artfully done by a big time director. And it may have been nominated for cinematography, but it was a shame because it didn't. Pablo Larraín maybe did. I'm stretching for names right now. But anyways, Netflix releasing movies that have fantastic cinematography and not really giving it a good theatrical run is kind of a shame because you're like, this has such beautiful images, but I'm going to be watching it at home on my, even regardless of how big your TV is, it's a shame that you can't see it.
At least you're guaranteed at home that your air conditioning is going to be working okay.
We would hope. I hope everyone's air conditioning is working.
So I don't want to recrecreate your AMC theater experience at my house, but
right.
Yeah, that's the only thing is, I look, I get so torn about Netflix distributing movies like this because on one hand, it's like, all right, otherwise, would I get a chance to see this at all if Netflix didn't pick it up and distribute it? I don't know. I don't know what kind of distribution it would have had. But it's at the same time, it's like, yeah, but you're kind of just making it so convenient to watch it on your home TV. And granted, I like my home theater setup. I think I've got it working pretty good. I don't mind seeing big spectacle movies like this. But that's not the case for a lot of people. And I hate anybody watching this on a smaller screen and just not getting that same effect. So it's a double-edged sword, Netflix picking these up. So I'm happy for the distribution, not happy for the viewing experience that people may have to have with it.
So people who may have thought Chris was completely off his rocker, and that is a completely fair observation. The film I was referring to was from 2023 called El Conde by Pablo Larraín. It was a Netflix joint, and the plot synopsis was Augusto Pinochet is a vampire.
Okay.
Right. So that film did exist.
You got the vampire black and white.
And it is black and white. So
Netflix
I was not
film,
just making something
right.
up.
Okay, good.
And that one was very visually interesting. I don't know if my claim of it being nominated was true or not.
Yeah. I didn't want to question you here on the show. I my ears perked up. I'm like, I'm not sure if I know that one, but anyway, you pulled it out. You got it. You're right.
You thought maybe my brain had been fried by the experience of watching Fantastic Four in a hot theater.
Maybe so. Right. Yeah, maybe so.
Fair enough.
Anyway, that's all the news we've got. So those 2 trailers coming up, both films, coming up soon. I guess September for the first one we mentioned, No Other Choice.
No Other Choice.
And then November is going to be for Train Dreams. So, all right. So, Chris, we are now at the part of the show. We're wrapping it up. We're in the home stretch. This is when we'd like to hear from you and tell us of a recommendation of a film that you think we ought to check out if we're looking for something to fill our queue. Is it a Netflix film? Are we keeping on that train or no?
It's not a Netflix original, but I did watch it on Netflix.
Oh, so it is watchable on Netflix.
Yes.
Okay, we're keeping that train going. Chris, what is your recommendation for us this week?
This film came out in 1979. It was directed by Carl Reiner, and it falls into the category of, oh yeah, I've seen that film. Turns out, haven't seen the film. Know of it, have seen scenes from it, have heard people talk about it, but I'd never seen The Jerk until recently.
Really?
Nope. And I was one to say, if you'd have told me, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen that. I know all about it. It's, Steve Martin, yep. Bernadette Peters, yes. But I think I'd just seen scenes. This film has no reason to work. It's about nothing.
Yeah.
But yet it's that rare gem where it's like, yeah, it's about nothing. It's a very simple premise. He basically plays kind of a loser, Navin Johnson. He was like a dimwit. He, it's a rags to riches to rags story, which is kind of the tagline. But it works. It works. And so many bits of random humor that in later films, such as, like I like Talladega Nights, but there's so many like random things. Some of them work, some of them don't, but they just kind of throw anything at the wall and see what sticks. Yeah. With this film, The Jerk, it's like everything that they threw at the wall for me stuck. And it was just one of those things like, I can't believe this is the first time I'm seeing it, because if I'd have seen it, earlier, I would have been watching this thing on a more regular basis.
Sure.
Because it just, it's funny, it's not heavy.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, man, it was so good. So
Wow,
The Jerk, Carl Reiner, Steve Martin stars. It's on Netflix, and it's probably rentable all over the place.
And I had forgotten that Carl Reiner directed that. So
Right. And he's actually in it as well.
Yep, that's right. I remember that too.
Yeah, but just The Jerk, it's great.
Well, I mean, you've got those films, Chris, that are eminently quotable.
Yeah.
Eminently like scenes people remember and shots, but sometimes those lines and those scenes are from a film that may have been some of the only parts of that film that anybody really recalls or remembers. And you're right, that's not the case with The Jerk, because The Jerk as a film is a watchable, enjoyable film all the way through. And it's not just a matter of, well, I just want to fast forward to that one scene and that one line or whatever. Right. So, I mean, there's at least, I can recall 4 already just moments and scenes from that film that are kind of ingrained in my, unfortunately, sometimes in my normal daily vernacular. So I have to remember. Yeah. It's great stuff. I'm glad you finally caught up with it. I'm glad it worked as well, too. So, yeah, there's a lot of those comedy films. You're right. They're just, we're going to throw everything we can, every scene, try to make every scene a standout, memorable, quote-worthy scene. And you kind of just roll the dice. Like half of them work. Maybe if you're lucky, half of them work.
Right.
And others don't. I think you mentioned Talladega Nights, perfect example. As a complete film, is it great? I don't know. But is it a collection of really good films or scenes? Absolutely. And The Jerk kind of set the mold for that. It's like, it's just scenes and moments that we think are funny and interesting for this character that don't really care to tell a whole story. I couldn't even tell you what the total plot of The Jerk was. I don't really remember. Right. It's just, you're just following a character through what the writer said. You know what? This would be funny. This would be really interesting. This would be a great moment. Let's do this. And just put it together. It's one of the earliest films I can remember kind of doing that and it working. So anyway.
Yeah, it has no reason to work.
Right.
But yet it does.
Well, and you got to give Steve Martin all the props on that.
He is one of the writers. He is one of the writers on it. So
it's just that was peak Steve Martin.
Yes.
I'm still saying he's still good. I still enjoy everything, but that kind of set the standard at that point of like, this is what this guy's capable of doing. So all right.
True.
Great. Okay, so on Netflix, The Jerk is available from 1979.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Chris. So that will do it for today. Our review of Fantastic Four First Steps. We had trailers for No Other Choice and Train Dreams, both coming out in the next couple months. And then Chris's recommendation of The Jerk. So Chris, if anybody would like to talk to us about any of these items from our show or anything in general, or just, they're lonely, they just want to talk, they need to reach out to somebody.
Sure.
How can they get a hold of us?
You can send an email to info@footcandle.org. You can leave us a voicemail via the contact page on the mesh.tv website. You can follow us on Facebook at Foot Candle Film Society, Instagram Threads, Blue Sky, Twitter. We're just Foot Candle Film. Al and I are also on Letterboxd, where we attempt to leave quick takes on what we've seen or try to keep track of what we're watching. Do us a favor. If you like the show, consider giving us a star rating, write a review, and share with friends on whatever service you receive your favorite podcast on, because it'll help us reach new listeners, and we'd appreciate that. Last but not least, our obligation is to mention the 2025 Foot Candle Film Festival, which will be held September 19th through the 28th here in Western North Carolina, in Hickory, North Carolina. All the information is up at footcandlefilmfestival.com. Tickets, the lineup of films, go check it out.
All right. That will do it for today. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We will talk to everybody next time. Take care.
See you in the ticket line in a hopefully air-conditioned theater.
Yes, absolutely.
Watch films in the company of like-minded people in the dark. Watch films in the underground. We won't let anyone know where you are. The films that don't make it to Carmike at the mall, or ones that were famous when Grandpa would watch films out of the reverence of the heritage of an art. Watch films through the courtesy of Foot Candle Film Society.
Special thanks to Carpal Tuller for the show theme music. For more about Carpal Tuller, visit www.carpaltuller.com. You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.